Hello and welcome back to the channel, welcome back to this TEW 2020 experiment video, and we are back with Future Pro Wrestling FPW. The date, Monday, week 1, January 2027, 5 years on from where this experiment started. In the first episode, we came back after 1 year, and in this episode, we have come back after 5 years, 4 years after that one, to see how FPW is getting on. We'll go over the awards in a second, but on the previous night, it was FPW's WrestleMania event, their flagship event, their season finale of sorts. The future is now. And so let's have a little look at the results here to get an idea of things. Indy Hartwell defeated Aaliyah. Tay Conti defeated Zaya Brookside, Danny Luna, and Isla Dawn in a cell match. Tony Storm and Judy Dolan defeated Ava Valkyrie and Keira Hogan. Cora J defeated Sarai. A lot of women's matches on this show. Liv Morgan defeated Rhea, and JC James retained the FPW Women's Championship. Liv Morgan, FPW's Women's Champion. Let's see. Dante Martin and Payback, the team of Austin, Gunn, and Boa. Fun team that. Defeated Carmelo Hayes, Trey Mcgill, and Isaiah Cassidy. Nash Carter defeated Marco Stunt and Omos to retain the FPW US title. Last time we were back, I think the future is now, after year 1 ended, MJF defeating Wesley for the US title in the main event. So on that occasion, Wesley entering the future is now as United States champ, and in this case, Nash Carter entering US champ and retaining against Marcus Stunt and Omos, men at two vastly different ends of the height spectrum. Ace Austin defeated Humberto Carrillo for an 83. Rio Ripley defeated Donna Prozzo and Anna Jay in a cage match to win the FBW $1 Million Championship. Rio Ripley, I mean, on the card at least, she only wrestled like 4 matches in the first year, so they're using her a bit more. Tyler Bate defeated Bron Breaker, Leo Rush, and Mansoor to retain the FBW World Heavyweight Championship for an 82. Tyler Bate, the FBW World Champion. Bron Breaker, Leo Rush, and Mansoor also in that title scene though. And then just like the future is now at the end of year 1, the world title not in the main event, MJF in the main event. And on this occasion, MJF defeating Jungle Boy for an 89, 82 Jungle Boy, 90 MJF. These two very clearly have grown into their potential, shall I say, after these 5 years have passed. An 83 overall rating, good show, a total of 30 million viewers on the FPW network. FPW flying high. How are they doing size-wise, I wonder? Company Wars. And FPW is the biggest company in the world. They are the only company Titanic size, I think. WWE and AEW are both medium size. New Japan Pro Wrestling and Stardom are both big, but other than that, no Titanic. I mean, I don't know what going downhill will do. None of these will be Titanic. So FPW, after 5 years, the biggest company in the world. This roster of young, exciting prospects and talent growing into themselves over these 5 years and helping FPW from a 0 popularity rating, remember, growing to 84s across America and 84s across the whole world. Titanic size. FPW, biggest company in the world. And then onto the awards. Darby Allin winning the Wrestler of the Year award. Company of the Year is Stardom. I mean, good job for Stardom. How are they getting on size-wise? Up to 79. Growing and growing. You gotta give it to them. Clearly doing very, very well. Team of the Year, the Young Bucks, the Nighttime, they've won it. Some things never change, I guess. Match of the Year, you got Miro and Pac against Malachi Black and Darby Allin on Rampage. Match of the Year always seems to be these random tag team matches. But what are you going to do? Show of the Year, Stardom the way to the Major League. I mean, Stardom racking up these awards. Young Wrestler of the Year is Suzu Suzuki. I'm going to assume of Stardom. Of DDT. That one's on me, I guess. Veteran Wrestler of the Year, Eddie Kingston. Good for him. Female Wrestler, Mayu Iwatani. Most Improved Company. No longer us, but I mean, we're already so high popularity-wise now. I guess there's not much room to improve. And then just a few other awards. What will be interesting though is the Power 500. I'll click on it and we'll just scroll down to... yeah, side note, John Cena got signed. He's not a wrestler. He is just a manager at this point, I think. Yeah, he is just a manager. Triple H really wanted him to be a manager, so Yeah, John Cena is here. He's not competing or anything though, so don't worry. Where did we start? We started in 2022. MJF was the highest rated performer. 2023. I'll just quickly set this to active wrestler. I think can work. No. Yeah, active wrestler. And oh my god. Right, she's just a manager as well. I assure you. All these people have just been signed as managers. I haven't let them sign any actual wrestlers. But Desmond Xavier, the highest ranked in FPW, 64th in the world in 2023. Clearly a good year for him. 2024, the highest ranked was MJF, number 22. I mean, flying up in the rankings. Isaiah Cassidy, 30. Ace Austin, 34. Marco Stunt, 35. Tyler Bate, 39. Desmond Xavier, 40. A lot of people in the top 100. Only 3 years in, a lot of progress being made over in FPW. And then in 2025, MJF number 1 in the world. FPW having the best wrestler in the world in MJF. I don't know if that's too surprising, MJF being the biggest wrestler in the world. Average match rating of 90. Amazing year for MJF. And also the number 2 wrestler in the world, Tyler Bate. Tyler Bate also clearly having a very good year. Average rating of 86. The 2 best wrestlers in the world competing in FPW. Other superstars very high up. Dominic Mysterio, number 7. Lio Rush, number 10. Ace Austin, number 13. Isaiah Cassidy, 20. Wesley, 22. Mansoor, 24. So many people in FPW, in the top 500, in the top 100 even. And then in the final and 5th year, just gone, 2026. We know Darby Allin was the wrestler of the year. MJF coming 2nd, down from 1st place. 92 average match rating, even higher than last year. I mean, just look at his matches. It's just light blue all the way down. I mean, he had an 84 at one point, but still, it's just light, so much light blue. What a year. What a superstar MJF has clearly become. Austin Theory, number 5 in the world. Clearly rising up in it. Tyler Bate down to 7, and then Young Boy 8 for Mansoor Knight. 5 superstars in the top 9 for FPW. And then, I mean, so many superstars up here. Lio Rush 11, Dominic Mysterio 12, Ace Austin 13, Wesley 16, Bron Breaker 17, Marco Stunt 18. So many superstars in this list. Clearly these superstars have developed and are reaching their potential over in FPW. Let's go and have a look at FPW as a whole. Now look at the title scene. Where is it? FPW. View profile. Let's have a look at the titles first. The men's tag team champions, a current prestige of 23 now. The champions Jungle Boy and Mansoor. When we left off, the champions were Humberto Carrillo and MGF, and going on from there, Dominic Mysterio and Marco Stunt won it. MJF and Sheamus won it. Yeah, Sheamus, this was very brief. I didn't notice Sheamus got signed. When I did, I just called him up to Defiance, the parent company I'm using to kind of make sure that Triple H doesn't get too mad with signings. So that belt was vacated, going to Isaiah Cassidy and Mark Quinn, then to Ace Austin and Lio Rush, Tyler Bate, Bron Breaker, Dominic Mysterio, Isaiah Cassidy, Marco Stunt, Mansoor, Austin Theory, Dante Martin. It was vacated for some reason. I had nothing to do with that one, but won by Nash Carter and Bron Breaker, and then eventually won by Jungle Boy and Mansoor over here. 3-time tag team champs. They hadn't held it since November 2022, but they finally won it September 2026. Nearly 4 years later. What a story. Reclaiming their gold. Current prestige of 23. The tag division raising that prestige quite lovely in the men's side, and on the women's side, the current prestige is 27, doing even better. When we left off, the champs were Ava Valkyrie and Gigi Dolan. Going on from there, Rio and Anna Jay, Aaliyah and Cora Jade, Tegan Knox take Conti, Aaliyah, Cora Jade again for a 2nd time, then Rio and Toni Storm, Ava Valkyrie and her new partner Zaya Brookside, JC Jane and Danny Luna, Chelsea Green and Ava Valkyrie. Then it was vacated because I noticed Chelsea Green had been signed, and so I had to take her away. And then Anna Jay and Tay Conti, Sarai and Indy Hartwell, Liv Morgan, Chris Statlander, Deonna Purrazzo and Gigi Dolan, and the current champs Anna Jay and Ava Valkyrie, both former multi-time tag team champs with other partners. I think this is both of their 3rd reigns. Never with each other, but nonetheless, it's actually Ava Valkyrie's 4th reign. Wow. Current prestige 27. Both tag team divisions doing well. The women's tag division raising the prestige a bit more, but both doing well. The $1 Million Championship, a prestige of 35. I think it was the highest prestige after 1 year, so still doing very well after 5. We left off with Cora Jade as the champion, and going on from there, she lost it to Hartwell, who lost it to Perazo. Then Rio, Liv Morgan. Notice Liv Morgan been signed, so it got vacated. Tay Conti her second time, Rio second time, Keira Hogan, then Perazo second time, then Isla Dawn's second time. Rio Ripley won it for the first time. Perazo became a 3-time champ, but then Rio Ripley returned at the Futures now to reclaim her gold and become a 2-time champion. Current prestige of 35, the $1 Million Championship. Doing very well, the mid-card scene in the women's division at least, absolutely flying, whilst the men's mid-card scene doing quite well as well, a 33 prestige, not as high as the women's, but still doing well. We left off with Wesley as the champ, and then FDF won the belt, then Austin Theory, then Walter. I noticed Walter had been signed, so it had been vacated. I feel like I'll be saying that a lot in the first year. Ace Austin, Omos, Mansoor, Ace Austin a second time, Mansoor a second time, Ace Austin a third time. A lovely little feud there between Ace Austin and Mansoor over the belt. Then Dominic Mysterio losing it to the giant Omos and losing it to the underdog Nash Carter, your current champion. I mean, the tag division scenes and mid-card scenes both going well for both men and women prestige-wise. Raising the prestige of the belt. Very pleased with both of them. And then the final championships. First of all, the FPW Women's Championship prestige of 29. Not as high as some of the other titles, but still doing very well. When we left off, it was Deonna Purrazzo who lost it to Rio Ripley, much like she has the FPW $1 Million title years later. But Rhea lost it to Anna Jay, lost it to Deonna Purrazzo, lost it to Rio Ripley again, lost it to Cora Jade, lost it to Rio Ripley. In a change of pace, Rio Ripley was the one losing it to Deonna Purrazzo on this occasion, both 3-time champs. Then Rio winning it from Deonna Purrazzo, and then Liv Morgan winning it from Rio. Which makes me think that I didn't recall Liv Morgan, and she was here from the start. It's such a big roster, I'm getting very confused by it. I don't know why she vacated the $1 Million title then. Maybe she was injured. But either way, she is your current women's champion. Women's championship team doing quite well. Hopefully, the men's world title scene's doing well. The FPW World Heavyweight Championship. MJF, Tyler Bate, the current champion, a prestige of 36. The most prestige of any title is your world title, which is good to see. Dominic Mysterio, the inaugural champ, lost it to Lio Rush last time we were here. And then from there, Lio Rush losing it to Jungle Boy, losing it to Braun Strowman. Braun Strowman not having the belt vacated because I didn't realise until he had already lost it to Jungle Boy for a second reign. Who lost it to Marco Stunt, who lost it to Lio Rush for a second reign. Then Wesley won it for the first time. MJF in December 2025, finally winning the world title. I mean, it took him long enough. The best wrestler in the world at the time, you think they'd have strapped that championship onto him, but no. They took their time with it. He didn't win it till the end of 25, and then he only held it for just under 6 months before losing it to the current champion, Tyler Bates, who has held it for 6 months now. Tyler Bates, one of the best wrestlers in the world, FPW World Champ. I mean, it was hard team with Tyler Bates, MJF, and MJF clearly. Very good for FPW here. As the title scene at the very least doing very well. Let's just have a look at everyone's popularity. Ace Austin up to 72 popularity throughout the US. I mean, he started at 0 popularity, so clearly massive growth from Ace Austin. From 0 popularity to 72. 72 growth. One of the best wrestlers in the world in the ratings. I mean, match history-wise, in the overall, he has fought 130 matches, 112 losses. I assume a lot of those in the early years when he had low pop. Average rating of 78, highest rating of 97, which I'll assume happened recently. It did. Let's try and find that rating. Oh, early in the year. He had a lot of matches this year. There it is. I was on FPW Heat, just a weekly show in April. Ace Austin, MJF and Austin Theory defeated Marco Stunt in Express Delivery for a 97. I'm sure it was a banger. Ace Austin, big growth, title-wise. 3-time US champ, 1-time men's tag champs with Lio Rush. He's having a nice little run of it. I mean, if I went further with the save, maybe he finally wins the FPW world title. You'd have to wait and see about that. And A-Kid started at 29 pop and now down to 27s. Looking at his match history, I mean, only 58 matches in 5 years, only 8 wins in those matches with 50 losses. Clearly used as like an enhancement talent mainly. A-Kid. I mean, you can't push everyone. A-Kid clearly not having the best of times in FPW overall. And then Aaliyah started at 18 pop throughout the US and now onto 42. She's had some growth, not much growth. 3-time FPW Women's Tag Champs twice with Cora Jade, once with Liv Morgan. She's had how many matches over these 5 years? She's fought, 150 matches, 43 wins, 107 losses. Not the best record. I mean, not the worst. Being used regularly at least, 30 matches a year on average, pretty good. Aaliyah, yeah, not a standout popularity-wise or anything here. Anna Jay started at 36, up to 53. She's made some steady growth. That's a growth of 17, I think. In that time, one-time FEW Women's Champion, held that for quite a while, 7-8 months, with 10 defences, and also 3-time FEW Women's Tag Champ, with one with Rio, one with Tegan Knox, one with Ava Valkyrie, the current champ with Ava Valkyrie, of course. And match history-wise, over the 5 years, she has fought in, 147 matches, 68 wins, 79 losses, pretty equal record there. Highest rating of 82, which was quite recently, November 2026. Deonna Purrazzo defeated her one-on-one to retain that $1 million title. Deonna Purrazzo with an 89. Deonna Purrazzo clearly making a lot of growth in these 5 years. Whilst Anna Jay, pretty good 5 years. FEW Women's Champ, 3-time Tag Team Champs, current Tag Team Champ. I'm sure she'd be pleased with that. And her partner, Ava Valkyrie, started at a 0 and also at an 83. Good 5 years for Ava Valkyrie. Currently engaged to LJ Cleary. Fine. Good for them. Title history. 4 times FEW Women's Tag Champs. Loves that Women's Tag title scene. Held the title with Anna Jay, Chelsea Green, Zaya Brookside and Gigi Dolan. A tag team specialist, Ava Valkyrie has become. Over the 5 years, she has fought 178 matches, 60 wins, 118 losses. Nearly double the number of losses, not the best, but an 88 rated match, Deonna and Ripley defeating her and Tegan Knox. Ava Valkyrie, I mean, current FPW Women's Tag Team Champ. Still pretty good, 4-time Women's Tag Team Champs over 5 years as well. Being used alright. I mean, she's lost quite a bit, hasn't she, but still. Had a nice little run of things, making a lot of progress popularity-wise from 0 to 53. Pretty pleased with that. And then Austin Gunn started at 20 popularity throughout the US, and now around 35. No titles won by Austin Gunn. And match-wise over the 5 years, he's only fought 76 times, and he's only won 11 of them with 65 losses. So clearly, like A-Kid, being used more as a enhancement talent, I'd say, throughout the years by FPW here. Disappointing for Austin Gunn, but, you know, this is a stacked roster. Not everyone can be used, and clearly he is one of the superstars that Triple H has decided against using here. But staying on Austin, we're doing Austin Theory next. He was the 2nd highest rated FPW superstar in the Wrestler of the Year ranking, so I think he should be doing well. He started on a 28 pop and he's up to a 77. Austin Theory doing well. He was injured for a little bit in there. I'm just going to look at these headlines. He's dating someone outside the industry. He posted a political rant. Oh, God. He was injured for just over a month, but doing well now. He's working as a heel with an Evolution gimmick. Title history-wise, FPW Men Tag Team Champs once with Dante Martin. They held it for 3 months, and he was the FPW United States Champion for about 6 months. So, won a couple titles over the past 5 years. Not the most accolades, though. But match history-wise over the 5 years, he has fought a lot. 213 matches for Ace Austin. 126 wins. I mean, it's a positive record. It's a lot of light blue as well. He's been involved in a lot of high-rated matches. Highest rating of a 98 somewhere in there that I'm not even going to... Oh, there it is. It was the 6-man tag from earlier with Nash Carter, MJF, and him defeating Trey Mcgill and Express Delivery. I mean, Ace Austin, putting on banger matches in the world title scene. 2 world title matches at the end of the year here at Sick and Twisted, losing in a fatal 4-way to Tyler Bate, and then losing one-on-one on an episode of Heat a few weeks later. Austin Theory, a lot of progress. I mean, popularity-wise, up 49 from previous. So, yeah, doing well, progressing nicely. Second best FPW superstar in the world on the rankings. Maybe they push him into the world title scene at some point. You'd have to wait and see for that. And then Boa started at 16, popping throughout the US, and now up to 46, so some progress from him. Title-wise, he won none. Match history-wise, over the years, 153 matches, only 32 wins. A lot of losses. Boa, like Austin Gunn and like A-Kid, enhancement talent to everyone else around here. A stacked roster. Boa, you know, just not being used by Triple H at the end of the day. Disappointing for him, but what are you going to do, I guess? 174th in the world still, showing his ability with the few matches he does get. As next we have Bron Breaker, last time having 28 pop throughout the world, and now up to 78s and 79s throughout the United States. Bron Breaker, 17th best wrestler in the world, absolutely flying. Former 2-time FBW Men's Tag Team Champions, once with Tyler Bate, once with Nash Carter. I mean, doing well. You think if you go a few more years on, he pushes into that US, maybe even world title division picture. Match history-wise, over the years, Bron Breaker has fought 236 times, the most used so far, and 131 wins. It's a positive record, and it's a lot of light blue for Bron Breaker. Highest match rating of 95, somewhere in there. I don't see it immediately, but I see this 94. Tyler Bate defeating him one-on-one to retain the title. I'm sure that was an absolute banger on this episode of FPW Heat in Ontario. Bron Breaker, really good for him. Progressing absolutely incredibly. I mean, Bron Breaker, a very bright prospect in NXT 2.0. And doing very well in FPW here. Before next, we have another superstar doing really well in NXT 2.0 in Carmelo Hayes, who last time out had 25 popularity in the US and now has 60s. Carmelo Hayes progressing nicely. No title history to mention. Has been in a relationship with Toni Storm for coming up on 3 years now. Good for them, Toni Storm and Carmelo Hayes. And match history-wise throughout the years, he's fought in 186 matches with 64 wins. I mean, he's won about a third of his matches nearly. Not the best record, but not the worst by any stretch of the imagination. And I mean, in 2026, by the looks of it, doing much better. 28 wins to 14 losses, double his number of wins. Maybe FPW starting to push him further up the card. Maybe 2027, 2028, he gets into that US title picture and he progresses even more. Carmelo Hayes going along nicely after 5 years, whilst Cora Jade up to 52 pop. I mean, last time out she was at 13, so 39 progress. Title history-wise, one-time FPW $1 Million champion and 2-time FPW Women's Tag Champs with Aaliyah, and former FPW Women's Champion. Won the title January 2025, held it till September. A nice long reign for her with 12 defences. Cora Jade doing really well in FPW, you have to say. Match history-wise, over the years, she has fought 153 times with 61 wins and 92 losses. Going along nicely here. Cora Jade making a lot of progress. FPW Women's Triple Crown winner. No complaints for Cora Jade. Really good from her. And then Dani Luna started at 0 pop throughout the US. And now at a 50. Dani Luna progressing really well. Plus 50, always good. Title history-wise, FPW Women's Tag Champs with JC Jane. Held it for 4 months. Good for them. Whilst match history-wise, Dani Luna, over the years, has fought 149 times. Only 31 wins, though. Not the best win-loss record, but it looks like 2026. Not the best win-loss record either. 7 wins, 14 losses, but still better. She won 5 of her last 6 matches, so building up some form of momentum there towards the end of the year. Good work from the 27-year-old Dani Luna here overall with that plus 50 pop increase, progressing really well. And speaking of that, Dante Martin started at 35 pop and up to 73. Dante Martin absolutely flying. Currently in a relationship, it would seem, with Sarai. Good for them. Coming up on their 3rd anniversary. Happy for those two. Dante Martin, one-time FEW Men's Tag Champs with Austin Theory. They only held it for 3 months, sadly for them, but they had gold very briefly. Match history-wise, I mean, this year, 36 wins and 8 losses, so doing really well, but overall, 151 wins, 85 losses, doing really well. Dante Martin, in the positive, putting on some great matches, especially in these later years, mainly light blue. I feel like that's the case for most superstars, though. They all seem to progress really well wrestling ability-wise. Dante Martin, pleased with him. You'd think he's considered a star by fans, in-ring doing well, pop-wise doing well. You think maybe they push him into a singles title picture at some point. But who knows? Whilst Deonna Purrazzo has done very well with his team, started at 33 pop, currently at 74, title history-wise. 3-time $1 million champ, 3-time women's champ, and 1-time women's tag champs with the Gigi Dolan. Deonna Purrazzo, an FPW women's Triple Crown winner, and then some. Incredible from her, so much gold. One of the faces of FPW, you'd have to say. Considered a star by fans. Match history-wise, over these 5 years, she has fought 190 times with 141 wins. Incredible. Highest rating of 90 at FPW Big Trouble back in August 2026, where she defeated Rio Ripley and Chris Statlander to win the $1 million championship. And she put in an 85 in-ring performance. Rio Ripley with a 91 as well. Rio Ripley and Deonna Purrazzo's feud seem to have defined the FPW Women's Championship scene over the recent years, as Deonna Purrazzo doing very well. One of the standout names in FPW, I'd say, just looking at the title as title history at the very least. Whilst Dominic Mysterio, the inaugural FEW World Heavyweight Champion, started at 45 pop, up to 69. Not the most progress from him, you know, affected maybe that breakup back in August 2023. Who knows? Title history wise, hasn't won the world title since, but United States champion, 2-time tag champs, once with Marco Stunt and once with Isaiah Cassidy. So a men's Triple Crown winner in Dominic Mysterio at the very least. Match history wise, over the 5 years, he has fought 265 times with 147 wins, so positive record. He had a 99 rated match somewhere in there. I mean, I can scroll for a couple seconds, but he has so many matches here. I don't know if I'm going to see it, to be honest with you. It's probably in there somewhere. But Dominic Mysterio progressing really well. I mean, considered well known by fans. The inaugural FEW World Heavyweight Champion, not progressing as well as a lot of people around here, but still doing nicely. 29 years old. Still a lot of space for him to grow, I think. Could push himself back into that world title picture someday. Have to wait and see, though. Gigi Dolan started at 25 pop, now at 46. Looking at the title history, 2 times women tag champs, once with Valkyrie, once with Deonna Purrazzo. Her and Deonna holding the titles as recently as December 2026 before losing them. Doing well though, Gigi Dolan. Match history wise, over these 5 years, she has fought 109 times, 40 wins. I mean, it's not the worst record, is it? Compared to some people in this company. In the recent year, 10 wins and 17 losses. Doing nicely. Gigi Dolan. Maybe not the most growth of anyone, but doing well nonetheless in FPW, I think. Whilst Humberto Carrillo started at 38 pop and now is at 62. Doing well. Hasn't won any titles since that men's tag championship with MJF, though, that we saw in the previous episode. So, Humberto, not seeing a lot of gold, not the highest pop, only considered well known. His highest rated match, 96, but average only 74. 99 wins, 144 losses. Humberto doing okay, but title-wise, he peaked at the end of that first year. And nothing more for him since. A bit disappointing, he'd probably say. I guess just, roster-wise, so many other people have stood out and progressed further. He's been left behind a little bit. Moving on to Indy Hartwell, started at 32 pop, now to 44. FPW Women's Tag Champ with Sarai. FPW $1 million champion on her own, winning gold in the tag team and singles division. And match history wise over the 5 years, not many matches for someone who's a 2-time champ. 72 matches, 31 wins, 41 losses. Not the worst record, not the best, but not the worst. And I mean, it's just not many matches, is it? She hasn't fought that much. 72 matches over 5 years really isn't a lot. What is that? That's like 14 a year on average. It's not the most, is it, for Indy Hartwell? But still progressed alright, making a 12 increase in her popularity. Doing okay. 388th best wrestler in the world. Pretty good. As we go to Isaiah Cassidy, who also had 32 pop last time out and is now at 68. A lot of progress from Isaiah. 3 times men's tag champs, twice with Mark Quinn, and then he said, screw Private Party, I want a team with Dominic Mysterio, and I respect that. Match history wise, over the 5 years, he has fought 226 times, winning only 56, 170 losses, an atrocious record for Isaiah Cassidy. In 2026, I mean, it's just negative every year. Isaiah Cassidy really matched what result-wise, not having the best record, losing so much. But popularity-wise, he's increased by 36, so doing alright, I guess. 3-time tag champ as well. So he's got something out of his time in the company at least. As we go to Isla Dawn, who had 0 pop and now has 45. Isla Dawn making good progress. 2-time $1 million champion. And match history wise, 5 years, 22 wins, 89 losses. Another really bad record, but a 2-time $1 million champion during that time as well. And making 45 progress in her popularity. Even with that win-loss record, I want to say Isla Dawn done really well here, to be honest. As we go to JC Jane, who went from 10 to 37 pop, so a 27 increase for her. Title-wise, 1-time women tag champs with Dani Luna. And match history-wise for JC Jane, 26 wins and 86 losses. And 1 draw in there. That is the first draw I've seen. I'm just kind of intrigued now. I mean, it's not the best win-loss record, I'll say again, but I just want to see what the draw was. It was in 2022, and it was at FPW Armageddon. JC Jane and Tegan Knox just drew with Dani Luna and Zaya Brookside. No more information about it. Ooh, the mystery. Oh, who doesn't love a mystery? JC Jane, yeah, pop-wise making some good progress. Another bad win-loss record, but a former tag team champion. No complaints, really. As we go to Jungle Boy, who had 49 pop and now has 72. Currently one half of the FPW men's tag team champions. Title-wise, Jungle Boy, 3-time tag champs with Mansoor. Him and Mansoor, the absolute dream team, winning the title twice. They held the tag titles twice in 2022. And then 4 years later in 2026, they reunite and they win the titles again. But during that time, Jungle Boy went off and decided, you know what, I'm going to be a world champ. And he did just that. A 2-time FPW World Heavyweight Champion, winning it in January 2023 and holding it for 7 months till August, where he was defeated. But then he won it back 4 months later in December of 2023 and held it till August again, holding it for 8-9 months. Jungle Boy, only considered well-known by fans somehow. I assume it's due to recent times, but I'd say Jungle Boy done incredible in FPW here. All years, 102 wins, 128 losses, a negative record, but 3-time tag champs and 2-time World Heavyweight champ, Jungle Boy. One of the standouts for me in this experiment. Keira Hogan started at 23, up to 48. 1-time FPW $1 million champion, and match history-wise, 5 years, 41 wins, 52 losses. Hasn't wrestled much. Negative record, but not by much. It's pretty even. Keira Hogan, yeah, I mean, there's not much to say, really. She hasn't really accomplished much during this experiment, but doing alright. I mean, pop increase of 25, still pretty good from her. And Chris Statlander from 32 to 59, progressing well pop-wise, and also in a relationship with Boa. That just sounds really interesting now, actually. You gotta put that into a storyline, I feel, if that happens. Title-wise, one-time women's tag champs with Liv Morgan, and match history-wise, over the years, 81 wins, 69 losses, positive record for her, 150 matches overall, doing well, highest rating of 90 in that earlier mentioned triple threat with Rhea and Deonna. Yeah, Chris Statlander, done pretty well. I mean, only one title, but progressing really nicely, I think. You know, give it a few more years, progress even further, see how she could get on really well. Lio Rush started at 33 pop and is now at 71. A lot of progress from him. Title history-wise, one-time FPW Men's Tag Champs with Ace Austin and a two-time FPW World Heavyweight Champion. Held it for 4 months and then held it for 7 months. So Lio Rush, 11 months with the belt, 23 reigns in that time. Done pretty well overall, I would say. Match history-wise, in the 5 years, he has fought 230 times, 93 wins, 136 losses, and 1 draw once again. I'm just so intrigued by these draws. It's a pretty good record for him. At FPW, the future is now. At their WrestleMania, him and Tyler Bate drew for an 84 in front of a sellout crowd. I mean, not how I'd probably book that, but a draw between Lio Rush and Tyler Bate on the grandest stage, and them all go on then. Lio Rush progressing really well, multi-time world champ. Another standout, I'd say. He's had a very good 5 years at FPW. And then Liv Morgan died at 43 and up to 52. Not the most progress, but the current FPW Women's Champion, so can't complain too much. And an FPW Women's Triple Crown, having held the $1 million title once and the Women's Tag titles twice, once for Leah and once for Chris Statlander. Match history-wise, Liv Morgan, of course, current FPW Women's Champs, but over the 5 years, she has fought 112 times with 68 wins and 44 losses. Good little record. Not that many matches, really. Overall, 112 matches, so just over 22 a year. It's not the most matches, but, I mean, she's become a Triple Crown in that time, so I can't say she hasn't done well. Winning all the gold, always impressive. Liv Morgan done it very well throughout this experiment, whilst Mansoor, who started at 33, is now at a 69. Currently holds FPW Men's Tag Team titles. Done really well. Him and his lovely partner, Jungle Boy, absolutely smashed it. And Mansoor also won the belt with Marco Stunt at one point. Mansoor, tag team specialist, 4-time men tag team champs, and also 2 times US champ on his own. Back in 2024 and then 2025. Done really well, Mansoor, overall, I'd say. Match history-wise, over the 5 years, 112 wins, 128 losses. It's pretty close. I mean, 240 matches with a pretty solid record. I mean, 16 more losses than wins. Not the worst. At the future is now towards the end of this last year as well, in the world title scene. Maybe if you go forward a bit more, he finally gets his hands on that and becomes a Triple Crown. But overall, Mansoor done really well throughout this experiment, I think. And then going on to one of his former tag partners, Marco Stunt, who was previously at 33 pop and is now at 69. A lot of progress from him. Title history-wise, 2 times men tag champs with Dominic and Mansoor, and 1-time FPW World Heavyweight Champion. He held it for 5 months and made 12 defenses. That's a lot of defenses in 5 months. A good world champion making that many defenses, you'd think. A fighting world champ. And in those 5 years, 264 matches, the most of anyone, I think. 163 wins to 101 losses. A really good record as well for Marco Stunt. Doing really nicely over in FPW. I mean, that record was greatly brought down by the last year with 8 wins and 47 losses. But before that, 38 wins to 10, 50 wins to 5, 33 wins to 16, 34 wins to 23. From the start, FPW pushing Marco Stunt hard. In the latest year, you know, having built him up quite a bit, maybe using him to put over some other people. I don't know if that caused his popularity to take a hit. It was 71 at the start of the year, it's down to 69, but still, Marco Stunt had a really good go of things in FPW. Definitely one of the standouts. Multi-time tag champ and multi-time world heavyweight champion. And then, I'll save him till last, because he's clearly the best one here. Nash Carter, started at 34, up to 71, 37 progress. Doing well. Had some backstage trouble, because he had some beef with MJF. Not the person you want beef with, mate, but Title history wise, one-time FEW Men's Tag Champs with Bron Breaker, one-time FEW US Champ, current FEW US Champ at that. Doing well, got the gold at the moment. Over the years, 109 wins, 99 losses, pretty good record. In recent year, 38 wins and 14 losses really helped buff that up, didn't it? As they pushed him really hard, ending with that FPW title win at Sick and Twisted, holding on to that US title at the moment, doing quite well. A lot of beef with Omar's. Omar's in 3 of his 4 FPW US title matches so far. But yeah, NASCAR doing really well throughout this experiment, I think. And then moving on to that man, Omar started at 48 pop, and now the Giant is at 62's 14 increase for him. Pretty good. Title history, 2-time US champion. Held it for 4 months and then held it for only 3 months. So Omar's not much gold and not holding it for very long in the company. Match history wise over the 5 years. 88 wins, 163 losses. Not the best record. Not the worst, but I mean it's pretty close to winning only a third of his matches. I mean in the recent year of 2026, 24 wins, 22 losses. Becoming more positive towards the end at least. Omar's maybe not doing as well as he would if I had left him in WWE. I mean WWE in real life, you'd think they're going to push Omar's hard. Triple H deciding against it, going for other guys, maybe as you'd expect of Triple H. Omar's a little disappointing, I'd say. As then we go to Rio Ripley, who started at 59, wasn't used much in the first year, but is now at an 83. Current FPW $1 million champion, 2-time $1 million champion at that, and a 3-time women's champion. And I'm pretty sure most of those title reigns either started or ended with matches against Dion or Perozzo. What a feud they've seemed to have over the years. As I said, in 2022, Rio Ripley only fought 6 times, and then in 2023 used more every year. Overall, 117 wins to 28 losses. An incredible record for Rio Ripley there, honestly. Highest rating of 93. Done really well. That 93 was Rio Ripley defeating Tay Conti. Sounds like a banger, to be honest. Rio Ripley not used much after 1 year, but 5 years in, used a lot, as you'd expect. Multi-time $1 million champ, multi-time women's champ. At some point, maybe she wants the Triple Crown. She dips into that tag division. We'll have to wait and see, though. Rio Ripley done really well throughout this experiment. As then we have Rio, who started at 35 and is up to 63s. Rio, title-wise, 2-time $1 million champ, 2-time women's champ, and 2-time tag team champ. She is a 2-time FPW Women's Triple Crown winner. Rio smashing it title-wise in this experiment at the very least. Over the years, 125 wins to 34 losses. A really good win-loss record for her as well. Rio absolutely smashing it over in FPW. Making progress as well, 28 up since previously. Really good work from Rio overall, I would have to say. As then we look at Sarai, who started at 26 and is now at 53s. Title-wise, 1-time FPW Women's Tag Champ, only held it for 4 months within the Hartwell. Oh, match history-wise though, how she got on. 42 wins, 36 losses. Yeah, just not being used much. Only 78 matches is a positive record, and she's increased 27 in popularity. But still, Sarai not being used much. Triple H favouring to use other women over her. What are you going to do? It's his decision at the end of the day. Whilst Tay Conti, who was at 36, is now at 60. Title history wise, 2-time $1 million champ and 2-time women's tag champs, once with Tegan Knox and once with Anna Jay. Match history wise, Tay Conti, 80 wins, 76 losses, positive record. Only 156 matches, still not that much, just over 30. That's okay, I guess, actually. Positive record, won some titles. Yeah, pretty good for Tay Conti. Not the best by any stretch of imagination, I'd say, but, you know, recognisable with my fans, mid-tier, doing very well, I'd have to say. Happy with her. Whilst one of her tag team champions partners, Tegan Knox, that was Tegan Knox's only title, so she's not had the best time. She started at 34 pop, she's up to 45, 11 progress over 5 years. Okay, I guess. Match history-wise, I mean, I'll explain it, really. Over the years, only fighting in 82 matches. just not being used. You know, how's she going to progress if she's not being used? In 2026, only used 21 times, and she lost 2/3 of her matches. Tegan Knox not having the best time in FPW. And in one of the big things, recent news headlines, no injuries. So Tegan Knox has stayed perfectly healthy over these 5 years. I guess part of that is the fact that Triple H is just not making her wrestle, which I guess is one approach to making sure she doesn't get injured. As we go to Toni Storm next, who previously had 39 pop in the US and now has 56. Title history wise, only the one women's tag titles to her name after 5 years. Not the best title record. Match history wise though, 105 matches. It's just not a lot, is it? 21 matches a year over 5 years. It's just not a lot, is it? In 2026, she was only used 27 times, and she won 21 of them actually. So she's starting to get pushed. I mean, 2025, maybe. 2027, 2028, she gets more titles, a US or a women's title. In these late years, she's being used more. She's making more progress, so maybe she gets pushed towards that women's title scene a bit more if you go a bit further forward. As we go to Trey Mcgill, who had 28 pop and now has 68, so plus 40. Big increases from Trey Mcgill, but no titles in 5 years. A lot of pop increase, no gold to show for it though. He's fought in a lot of matches, 268 to be exact. 187 losses though. Lost more than 2/3 of the matches he fought in. Definitely not the best record, but still a lot of progress from him. 40 progress, used as an enhancement talent to the stars. Trey Mcgill so good in the ring. Sadly, no titles to his name, but, you know, Triple H seeing him as the guy to make the guys that he wants to push. Which, as a spot to be in, I mean, you want to be the guy, but he's on the card at least. Whilst Tyler Bates, who's done very well clearly throughout the save, 76 pop, up from 27, so a 51 increase, current world heavyweight champion. Yeah, incredible work from Tyler Bate. Title wise, 1-time tag champ, 1-time US champ, and 1-time world champ. A triple crown, FPW men's triple crown winner. And match history wise, I'm sure he's fought a lot. He has 244 times to be exact, 174 wins in that time. A very, very positive record, winning over 2/3 of his matches. Current world heavyweight champion at that, Tyler Bate, doing really, really well throughout this experiment. I have to say, definitely one of the standouts. Whilst Wes Lee fought in the main event of FPW The Future is now at the end of year 1, started at 34 pop, now up to 72. A lot of progress from him. Title history wise, 1-time US champ and 1-time world heavyweight champion. Losing that title at the end of 2025. Overall though, match history wise, Wes Lee fought in a lot of matches, 227 to be exact, winning 152. Really solid record from Wes Lee here, making a lot of progress, winning most of his matches. Not that many titles, but a former world champion in recent years at the very least. And, I mean, doing very well, could easily jump right back into that title scene in the years to come. Wesley, definitely one of the standouts, I'd say, throughout this experiment. As we go to the penultimate superstar, Zaya Brookside had 0 pop, but is now up to 41. A lot of progress from the second generation superstar. 1-time FEW Women's Tag Champs with Ava Valkyrie as well. And match history wise, Zai Brookside has fought 130 times, 22 wins, 108 losses. It's really not the best record, is it? I mean, in the last year, 3 wins to 19 losses. Used as a jobber, essentially, let's be honest here. Winning a few matches though, so I guess that pushes her up to enhancement talent. But still, a lot of progress, 0 to 41. I mean, 1-time women's tag champ as well. Zai Brookside doing alright here, I'd say generously. As we move on to the main superstar here. Previous wrestler of the year and the star of the company and this experiment so far, I would say. MJF. 89 pop throughout everywhere. I mean, what can you say? 5 years in the company, 32 pop progress, considered a major star by the fans, former wrestler of the year, currently 2nd best wrestler in the world, I think, on the rankings. Title history wise, 2-time tag champ, 2-time US champ, and one-time world champ. The one-time world champ part, the most shocking thing here to me. I'm sure if I sim further forward, he will. He very well should be a multi-time world champ, but who knows? A triple crown winner at the very least, though. MJF, the star of FPW, their main heel, Tyler Bate, by the look of it, their main babyface over the 5 years. MJF has fought in 240 matches and won 191 of them, and an incredible win-loss record you'd expect it to be. I mean, his title matches stretch over just about 2 pages here. MJF constantly in that title picture throughout 2026, holding the world title in this recent year, eventually losing it to Tyler Bates, the main babyface and heel, going at it on a random episode of Heat instead of saving that for a pay-per-view, because who cares? They had their rematch at Slam Mania. Why don't you just wait till then, Hunter? But what do I know? To MJF losing that, and then MJF losing on Heat in September as well, and losing again in November to Tyler Bate. But MJF, the star of this, FPW's biggest superstar. I mean, if I go by search and I go by perception, only major stars, yeah, these 5 guys. Rio Ripley, the only woman in here, and then other than that, MJF is your main heel, Tyler Bate is your main face, and then also you have Bron Breaker as a heel and Austin Theory as a heel. So you have 3 big heels, all vying for Tyler Bates' gold. I mean, just overall, FPW doing really, really well here, I must say. I mean, if you're interested, I will show you the non-wrestling people here. Role manager-wise, we have Ali, Jade Cargill, James Mitchell, John Cena, Camille, Marek Manik, Mercedes Martinez, Prince Nana, Raven, Samantha Starr, and Vita Von Star. God knows who they're managing. I'm really intrigued by who John Cena would be managing here. God knows. And also, on-screen personalities, a lot of the same. Also, Jeff Jarrett, Quinn McKay, Triple H, Alex Marvez. Some big names throughout there, but overall, 5 years in, FPW, absolutely flying. Titanic size, wrestlers progressing nicely. MJF, one of the best wrestlers in the world. Number 1 last year, 2 this year. Outstanding from him. And Tyler Bate doing really, really well as well. But that is going to be it for today. I hope you've enjoyed this video and you're enjoying this little FPW series. I'll probably do one more part. I gave everyone 10-year contracts, so I'll probably do one more part where we simulate another 5 years forward. So 10 years on from the start. So go to Monday, week 1, January 2032, and see how everyone ended up doing after 10 years in FPW. But for this video, I do hope you enjoyed. If you did, then drop a like and subscribe to the channel for more content. Maybe go check out some of the other TEW experiment videos I have on the channel if you haven't seen them yet, or maybe one of my TEW series. I have 2 going on at the moment, one with modern WWE and one with NXT in 2010 that I've just started as well. Both of them going pretty well in my opinion, but I am biased. So yeah, but overall, like, subscribe, and thank you for watching.